So I'm putting up the second video of this series, and so I think it's time I address my fear of rejection. Hello. Being afraid of rejection is the feeling many of us experience in life. It can cause us to procrastinate, pull back from situations where we'd otherwise, talk more, and it can cause issues in our work, our social, and our relationship areas. You're all right is probably what your friends would say. Yeah. We want to connect most of all to the people closest to us. It's rooted in our history of living in tribes when we needed to survive back a long time ago, and we'd have to band together. So connecting with the people that you needed to survive with was really important. Sometimes to connect, we put ourselves out there, and that's kind of scary. We can be afraid that we won't get a favorable response, like if you're sending out a message or if you're doing a presentation, and when there's a delay in response in the answer, we can ruminate on how to respond. We'll be like, oh no, what did I do? Did I do the right thing? Could I have done this thing differently? Should I have sent this message? Should I have done this presentation? What am I doing? And when we're ruminating, we can catastrophize and worry about it all. It's just like, oh, what's going on here? Like, am I not good enough to do these kind of things? Am I even playing in the right place? And this ruminating can get all of us. So I think the fear of rejection is interesting in that it can affect us in many different forms. It can affect us in relationships. It can affect us in like our work. It might be social rejection. And it can affect us if we're making videos for YouTube, say. And what happens for me is I have this video, I have this idea that I think would be really good to make, and I think it would be useful, even if just for myself. But then I sit there and I'm like, what if people won't like it? Or what if it doesn't go down well? What if people don't respond well to it? And then I worry, and then I'm like, oh, I need to prepare more, or I need some advice. I need some advice from someone else to help me make the video. And those are okay, preparing and advice are okay. But what really happens is when I procrastinate, when the video is ready and I'm scared to send it. And when also like I start thinking about it or like worrying like what people will think of it. And I can feel that kind of fear, that fear that it's not, this is the representation of me. And when I put a video up, it's like, what will people think of me? And yeah, and it takes up a lot of time and it takes up a lot of energy. And I'd like to get over it. And it's funny because, I guess like getting over things, I think there's this whole thing with negative emotions where like we want to get over them and like just get through them. But I think like learning to accept that, maybe I'm a bit afraid. And I think a bit of fear is helpful. A bit of fear means the quality is higher. But I don't want it to be so afraid that I don't perform. I don't put up videos. I don't want to be so afraid that it changes what I do or it slows me down too much, because that slowing down could really help me do more things I want to do in life. Maybe I want to relax more. Maybe if it took less time. So like even just for this video, I've just been like procrastinating on all night. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I just couldn't do it. I was just too afraid of how people would respond to it. And it probably comes from my past, being afraid of being rejected in the past has been a big deal. And, I could sort that out maybe. But there's a few simple tricks that we have in this video that will help us, or like I guess helps me, overcome this fear of rejection and continue operating. So I've been talking about tribes, and I think one helpful technique is actually talking to our tribe. And what I mean by tribe is like this group of people that, we feel are really close to us, or like the most important people in our lives. And sometimes we feel rejection from people beyond the tribe. We're out there and, like with my videos or like in a workspace, you're trying to reach out to a new person and you feel rejection. You feel rejection, or you're afraid of rejection from someone beyond the tribe or your family, the people that you really care about. But still, I care more deeply about what my family thinks and what my family feels. And one way that I overcome this feeling of rejection or the fear of rejection is I ask my family how they would feel if I were to mess up. If I were to make a video and it would be an embarrassing video, how would they feel? And they'd say, you're all right, probably. Or maybe they'd laugh at me. But, and it depends on your family. Families are all different. But I think that they'd still love me or they'd appreciate that I tried. And that's one of the techniques. And it's a really powerful technique, actually, because I care a lot more about what my tribe thinks. And that usually gives me the strength to continue on. So, second technique is, the source of confidence in ourselves and our tribes. And it's like learning how to back ourselves in difficult situations is a really cool technique. And you can do it with mantras. You can do it by building your relationship with yourself. That's like going for walks and like communicating and like being kinder to yourself. Like having some self-compassion. I think these are all words, but just like when things are tough, you can be less tough on yourself. You can be like, hey, okay, at least you tried. And that's one of the techniques of like backing ourselves. Or, another one is like, hey, you got this. And this is another technique or another way of saying things. So learning to back ourselves is one source of confidence. You can also use having someone you can give a call to back you up. And what I mean by that is like our tribes also back us up. I think the people that we're really close to are really helpful in like helping keep our self-esteem up, especially when we're worried, especially when we're afraid. It could be like a team member. It could be like a person that you're really close to. It could be your partner. Any of these people, sometimes you can give them a call just when you're worried or send a message. Sometimes it can be a one-way message. You're just like, I'm about to do this thing. Wish me luck. That kind of thing. But both of these, like a lot of my confidence comes from the people around me. So on to techniques. Look, it's a safe space to practice. That's one technique that's really helpful. So you can practice by yourself or practice with someone that you consider safe. Building your connection with yourself is something I just mentioned before, and someone to listen to. These are both really helpful techniques. Asking what your tribe, how they would feel if you were to mess things up is a super powerful technique. I use this a lot, and it's really helpful. Thanks for watching the video.